Hi everyone, this is Liz from the Beverly Public Library. Welcome to our very first STEAM Scribbles. In STEAM Scribbles each week we're going to be exploring science, technology, engineering, and math concepts using only paper and pencils, things that you have at home for sure. I have colored pencils, but you could use regular pencils, you could use markers or crayons instead if that's what you have. Whatever you have on hand is fine. The important part is that we're scribbling together. This week we're going to be talking about habitats together. Habitats are communities of living creatures, and in a habitat each living creature needs to have everything they would need to survive readily available. I've been thinking about habitats a lot lately because we're all spending a lot more time in our homes, so our homes have kind of become like a habitat because we need everything we need to survive right here in our houses. We need food to eat, water to drink, air to breathe, of course. We have roofs over our head to protect us from rain, and we even have air conditioning and heating to keep us warm and cold, but not too hot or not too cold. And if we need all of that for our houses, let's try to imagine together what each animal might need in its habitat naturally. So, to get started with the scribbling, grab a pencil, whichever one you want. I've got a black one. And we'll each have to choose an animal to draw. I'm gonna draw a giraffe because that's one of my favorite animals. You could draw your favorite animal, or if you have a dog or a cat or a fish at home, you could draw it and try to imagine what its natural habitat is like, or its habitat at home. You could draw an animal that's not alive anymore, like a dinosaur. That'd be pretty cool. Or an imaginary animal like a unicorn, and you could imagine what its habitat might be like if it were real. Or you could make something up. It'll be a lot of fun either way. So if you've got your animal in mind, let's get started. So the first thing we need to draw, of course, is the animal itself. So we're gonna start with its body. So I'm just gonna draw a great big tummy for my giraffe. And then we have to draw its limbs. Now, my giraffe will have 4 long legs, but if you're drawing a fish, it might have flippers or fins. If you're drawing a bird, it might have wings. So just add whatever limbs it needs to move around, okay? So that's 2. Let's make sure to get all 4 of them. And last one. Okay, great. And next I need to add a tail. I bet a lot of you have tails you need to add too. And since it's a giraffe, it needs a big, long neck so that it can reach its food. Your animal might reach food differently. Maybe if you're drawing a shark or something, it needs big teeth, right? So just be thinking about what your specific animal needs to have. And I'm drawing ears. Don't forget all of the ears and eyes and noses and mouths so that it can see and hear and smell its environment, right? Okay, and there's my giraffe's mouth, its nose, and its eye. Okay, so that's the giraffe. I think it needs little horns too. I think it has horns, right? Okay. But I want to make it pretty, and you probably want to make yours pretty too. So let's take a couple of minutes and draw in some details. Okay, so I'm going to add some eyelashes, and I have all these pretty colors, so I'm going to start adding some spots. And go ahead and take your time. Okay, did you get your animals all nice and beautiful? I sure did. Here's my giraffe. I got all of the details on it. What sort of space does your animal live in? Does it live in an ocean? Or maybe it lives in a desert? What about a forest? Mine lives out in the plains of a savanna, so I know that I need it to live on some grassy land. So I'm going to take my green and I'm going to draw a little green line to represent the land just above my giraffe's neat little feet so that it can be standing on it. Okay, and that should do it for me, but some of you might need a little more time. So take your time and then come back when you're ready. All right, the next thing that my giraffe needs, now that it has a space to live in, is it might need some cover from the rain or any other weather that happens. And you know what, maybe I'll draw a cloud to represent that. Where will my giraffe go? Okay, so my giraffe might need some trees to hide underneath. They'll need to be tall trees because, of course, it's a giraffe. Your animal might need something else. Maybe it'll need a den that it can hide out in, or maybe it lives in a hole in the ground somewhere. Whatever it is your animal needs. Now, I'm only going to draw one tree because my giraffe is big and it needs lots of space to maneuver around the trees, but you can draw as many as you like if you're doing trees too. Okay, so we got the trunk. Now let's draw some leaves. And I'm just gonna scribble them on there. Yeah, nice and big so that my giraffe can hide well. Okay, that might do it. Okay, so now my giraffe has somewhere that it can shelter, and that's pretty important. What else does it need? Well, I think it might need something to eat. What does your animal eat? Okay, mine eats leaves from the tree, we got that, but it also eats flowers and fruit from the tree. So I'm gonna just draw some flowers to make it pretty. But if your animal eats, maybe it eats worms if it's a bird, or it might eat other smaller animals, or you might need to put other types of plants in there. Think about what your animal eats and start adding that in. And you don't need to make it too fancy. Those are my flowers. And we're just gonna acknowledge that they're flowers together, even though they don't really look much like flowers. It's okay, it's scribbles. Okay, so we have shelter and space, and we have food. I think we might be missing something. Oh, I know. We need water to drink. So, I think for my giraffe, I'm going to draw a nice little river over here that it can walk over to and get nice big sips from whenever it gets thirsty. For your animal, maybe you need a river, but maybe you could go with a pond. If you've got a turtle, maybe that's where it would be already. Or if you have an animal that already lives in the water, you might not need to do this. So just think about what your animal's needs are. Okay, I think that's as good as I'm gonna get that. All right, so we have, I think that might be everything that our animal needs. What do you think? Yeah? Okay, so what else could we put in here? Well, we said at the beginning that a habitat is a community of living creatures, so it can't just be a giraffe here. There's got to be other things. And we have a tree, and that's a living thing. But what else could we put in? What other sorts of animals live in your animal's habitat? So mine might have elephants or lions, but Maybe if you drew a bird, there might also be squirrels, or maybe there are foxes around. That could be fun. So why don't you think about what other animals might be around and start adding them in. I can try to draw an elephant. I think that'll be a little tough for me. Let's see. Gotta be shorter. And just like we said with the giraffe, make sure to add everything that that animal needs to move around and navigate its environment. So it needs its legs, it needs all of its sensory organs. That means its eyes, its ears, mouth, nose. Okay, and you know what? I don't have a gray. So I think we'll just have to do this one in black and white, right? So we'll just pretend this is gray. But that's okay because we're using what we've got. And there's my elephant. And now that feels a little more like a community, right? I could throw in some more things, but I think I'm good for right now. What animal habitat did you draw? Share your drawing on social media with the hashtag #SteamScribbles. I'd love to see what you've created. Tune in next week with your pencils and paper at the ready for the next Steam Scribbles. See you next time, Scribblers.